This was really disappointing. I hate to say it, but we turned the ball over just ridiculously again, like 3 or 4 in a row, and then we only had 9 for the game, and then we missed. Did we get 4 offensive rebounds and missed four shots? I mean, we were kind of out of sorts a little bit, and they say that they make you do that. So maybe I got to give them credit, but I just didn't feel like once that happened, we could ever, we cut it. We said we'd get it to 6 and got it to 5 one time in the first half, and it just didn't seem like we were doing the things that you needed to do to win the game. I think they played, I guess, well. I mean, Broom did. But if you would have told me that, we would hold those guards to 20-some% three-point shooting, and Broom hit 2 of them. So, I thought we had a real chance to win the game, but we didn't.
Seemed like some of the layups that you guys were getting and some of the stuff around the basket all year.
Yeah, Trey struggled, and Coop. He was, 1 for 10, or 0 for 10. He had some pretty good looks, both from the 3 and a couple of those layups driving, but I thought we just panicked a little bit, which I'm a little surprised at. But then again, when they were announcing their lineup, and I'm looking at the stats, and we're starting those 2 freshmen, and yet those 2 might have been the most solid guys that played today, Jeremy and Jace. They were, as far as holding us in it and being confident. I thought we had some guys that weren't as confident, and that was disappointing.
You admitted you with the three-point shooting most of the season. Do you feel like it was a factor in this one?
Yeah, because we hit a couple at the end when it didn't matter. We would have probably been, but they're a terrific three-point shooting team. They shot less than us, I think, or same. It was a problem all year, and we didn't do the job. I thought Trey is a good enough three-point shooter, and he struggled today, and they did a pretty good job on Jace, and Jaden got some at the end, but yeah, that's been a problem for us. But we beat a lot of good teams with that being a problem, worse than it was today. So it was, I think, those turnovers for touchdowns. We had a couple of defensive lapses. We struggled. Some of our bigs, we struggled today just with coverages that should have been basic. Like you've never seen us get ball screen split like we did for layups. I think 3 times. So we just didn't do our job.
Stretch when Broom was on the bench, when he was out for about 5, 6
Yeah.
minutes. What, when you had a chance to capitalize, what were they doing maybe that allowed them to keep that lead where it was?
Well, there were a couple times there were missed shots, and then the ball bounced around, and we didn't get the loose ball, and they moved it 3 times and hit a 3. Number 10, I think he was 1 or 2 for 9 or something from the 3, and he hit that one big one. So, I don't know. We out-rebounded them. I didn't think we did a great job on the boards, and I didn't think we came up with enough loose balls, and they came up with a couple that cost us a lot. When you do that, that's a depressing. Hold them, get a chance to go, and we don't get the ball.
At the end of a great season with a lot that accomplished, and you lose to the number 1 team, is it up? You can't really beat yourself up or your team up.
Oh yeah, I can do that. I don't have to beat my team up. I can beat myself up. Yeah, that's what you do. The only reason I say you do that because Judd's right. I keep using his analogies because what I found out that I always preach to my guys, let somebody tell you how it goes instead of learning on your own, so that by then it's too late. And but that's what's happened again. We didn't do the little things that really mattered. Maybe we'll get another chance next year, and maybe we won't. And that's why I've learned that you've got to take advantage, and at the time you take advantage. Being here in a home game for them, the crowd was a little bigger than I thought for them, but I don't think that fazed us. I really don't. That's not insulting. It's just we've played in some great venues. We've played when it was 92-2%, and this one, I don't know what it was, but it wasn't 92-2. But you know, what I beat myself up on is why we made some of the mental mistakes we did with some guys that are pretty intelligent. Maybe the season got long, maybe the pressure got bigger, maybe the fact that I didn't have many guys, I didn't have any guys really other than Jaden that even played in big games in the NCAA tournament. You can play them in a regular season, but maybe there are a lot of reasons. But no, there's no, listen, when I say that, I thought some guys made some mistakes. But when I say this team gave me every single thing they had, I mean every single thing. I mean, most of you that were with us here 5 months ago probably left here saying, well, there goes the 27, 26 straight NCAA trips. I mean, I went to bed that night thinking it myself, so don't feel bad if you did or admit it. I didn't feel very good about where we were. And give my assistants, give those players credit. They just reached down, they knew it, they did some things that no teams of ours have done, you know, and then to win our league as good as it was by 3 games, yeah, 2 days from now I'm going to sit back and say, wow, it's pretty awesome, but you just don't get to feel that way today because you know that my Jaron Jackson, Miles Bridges team was a lot better than some of the teams, in fact, a lot better than any of the teams or most of the teams that I've seen in this tournament, and we got beat in the second game. And so that's the only part that bums me out is, for Frankie and Shimon. But Frankie and Shimon got to do something they never dreamed they'd get to do. I mean, they were like kids in a candy store to even think that they get new shoes, where they played. Those things weren't common, and travel and the way they got to do things. So that was all good for them. But Jaden, you got to feel for Jaden because he's given this program a lot, and he's worked his tail off, and he's done everything academically and athletically and socially that, like I said, if I had a son, I do have a son. If he turns out as good as Jaden, I'm gonna be in business, But my son's got some work to do yet.
Tom, can you reflect on how fragile, I guess, the strength in numbers idea? Maybe at the beginning you win and it takes hold, but you need a certain group of guys, a certain group of personalities to make that work. And you guys did.
Yeah, that's where I give my staff credit, and as crazy as it sounds, me credit, because that took work. I mean, everybody just thought it was smooth. I can't tell you how. And when you really look at it, guys are playing 24, 25 minutes. I mean, most guys play, 20. Great players play 30. I mean, it's not like everybody plays 35, 36 minutes. Cleves and those guys didn't. Draymond and those guys didn't. Denzel and those guys didn't. Sometimes we get caught up in stuff that's crazy, but it was an everyday communication with them, and I learned that it was good because it forced me to communicate with them even more and do more stuff with them and call them late at night and meet with them early in the morning, and I got a ride of a lifetime, I got a ride of a lifetime.
Do you think the camaraderie and connectedness will
Oh,
carry over to next
I don't know. That's what's so sad about today. I don't know. I don't know who's going to get a hold of the kids. I don't know what, who's upset, who's not upset. I mean, winning cures a lot of evils. But I do think that looking at those guys in that locker room, it was, one of the more tear-jerking locker rooms. And so I think it can have some carryover, but you never know. You never know what's going to happen and who's getting in whose ears and what's going on now the way it is. So I don't know. It'll be interesting, to see what happens.
With
Tom,
Jason
you said-
in particular,
Tom, you said,
he obviously, his dad came back for a second year, and he's got some uncles who came back for extra years to kind of chase that ultimate goal. Is that something that you kind of just let him sit and figure it out on his own, or you kind of have those people maybe say,
Oh, yeah,
live what you want?
Yeah, no, with Jace, it's a little different. I mean, I've already talked to Jason and his mom, and, I do think he's got to test the waters just because that's the way it is now. But they'll do what they want. I've been so proud of Jason. There were things that people wanted to do, TV things for him and this and that, and he scratched them. I mean, he knows what he's doing, and And I'm sure, he'll ask me questions and this and that, but he has enough ability to find out things. And, I told Jace after, he took it the hardest, just about. And Jeremy, those two guys really competed out there. And I felt like have really grown together. But I don't know what, that'll be something that'll be months away yet. It would be dumb for me to speculate, but I will talk to them. But that would be my advice right now. And see what
You said on the podium it reinvigorated you this season, this team. Can you speak to it?
Yeah, listen, anybody that hasn't been around Michigan State for the last 7 years, for the things that I've personally gone through, and then when you're involved in these all these changes and you're really involved because you're on committees, it was nice to see a bunch of guys that played for each other, played for the university, and played for the name on the front along with the name on the back. That's my new motto. It's, I heard coaches say you should always play for the name on the front, not the name on the back. I say to hell with that. You should play for the name on the front and the name on the back, because you're playing for your family. You're playing for yourself, your own family. And I'm coaching for my family, so I'll put Michigan State on the front and I'll put my dad on the back. That's cool with me. And as long as there's some of that, I think too much is, we've caused it where I don't know if as many guys will play for the name. I think my guys will, but we'll see. We'll see.
With Jackson Kohler, you were able to lean on him offensively today, and he had a nice comeback game today.
He did. Jax played, I thought, very well, and missed a couple of his favorite shots in there that I think he normally would make. But he hit those big threes. We set up that one play for him, and it was a big play at the time, and he nailed that thing. And I felt good for Jackson. He's getting better. We got some other guys that got to get better. So we'll see what the spring and
The
summer
way he
does.
shot, does that remind you of Granger, his junior year?
Yeah. Granger, Goran Suton, kind of in that mold where he could be that kind of player, and that's a lot. He's not quite as athletic as Granger, more like Goran, but he's worldly, he's smart. I think he's got to find a happy medium now. He's got to work on his perimeter, but he used to be dynamite down there, and this is the first time you've seen him back to dynamite. So, I think he'll have a great spring and summer. He works his tail off too. He might be as dedicated a kid as I'm coaching also.
How rare is this level of selflessness compared to the teams you've been around?
Well, I think I've had a lot of selfless teams, and I say that because it's what our culture is. I saw something really interesting. I saw a little piece on Kelvin Sampson today, and I just laughed, looked up at the heavens, and said, in the back of his meeting room, he's got the word culture. That's all he talked about, is playing for the university and playing for, I got to call him and tell him we're illegal aliens. You're not allowed to do that anymore. But it was really kind of cool that I watched that before I left for this game, because I think it still matters. I think it should still matter. I don't know what it's like at Duke or Florida or Auburn, but in my own way, nor do I care. I just care what goes on at Michigan State. I care what goes on with the program, and I care what goes on in the players in the program.
Does this team teach you anything new? Obviously, you've been doing this for
Not new, but it re-upped my faith in humanity. Okay, so it wasn't new because that's the way I had it for a lot of years. But there's been a lot of reasons. Some nobody's fault. It's not all the portal or the this or the that. Some of the things that we were self-inflicted with at our own university. And so, when things like that happen, you just kind of hang on, and you fight your way through it. But these guys definitely, we laughed about it because, when they talked about records being set, it was a year of records being set, I guess. But one of the cool ones to me was not losing a game in December and January, only because no other team has done that I've coached. And I started to realize maybe these guys, deserve more credit than I even give them. But, yeah, it was, you had to be there every day. There were very few practices. You guys were at a lot of them. They brought it, They brought it on this trip. They brought it in the film room. They brought it in the walkthrough rooms. It was just, it was great. It was great.
If we asked you here in this room in November that you'd be back here at this point, would you have believed that?
My problem is I'm too damn honest with you guys, and then I'll look bad. But the answer is no. I didn't think I'd be here. I didn't know, but I didn't think so. I was just thinking on how I could get into the tournament at that time. In fact, part of me was thinking how I could win another game. That's what happens when we lose a game. You never think you can win another one. And we didn't play that bad. We lost by, 7 or whatever, but it just didn't feel like we were very good. And that's a great credit to my staff and to those kids. Those kids did a hell of a job. The difference is nowadays is they know what everybody else felt about them. Usually it's just the coach that's getting on them. Hell, the coach got to help them because everybody else is getting on them now with the damn social media. So they fought through some things too, and I give them a lot of credit for that.
Which have been like sort of nurturing Jace from a guy to the guy for you over the course
Yeah.
of the season.
Jace has been great, and what I really liked is I think there was always some jealousy with everybody early on, that's normal that happens. And he fought through it, and those guys fought through it. And when I say normal, a little bit here, a little bit there, I get people, is he doing something special because he's Jason Richardson's son? That's so far from the truth. The kid earned everything he got. Everything he got. And he is another one that knows how to play the game right. It's been fun to coach him. If I get another year, that's great. If I don't, that's great too, because that means hopefully we helped him and he helped us, and that's a good deal. But the nice thing is I know he won't make a decision for the wrong reasons. Whatever his reasons will be, they'll be the right reasons. And but he's just a unique kid. What I learn about players, and I'm sitting there at the bus today, and we were loading the bus. And they had a little, pepperelli, whatever it is, and I kind of snuck off and came the other way. And I'm looking back, I'm watching these players walk out. And here's Jace Richardson going and hugging every frickin' manager. And I go, that's my kind of guy right there. And everybody thinks he's too big, he's spoiled, he's this, he's that. He's one of the more humble kids, and he does an unbelievable job. And when you treat, that was Judd Heathcote's line, you better treat your janitor and your secretaries as good or better than you do the people on top. I think I've always done that. And but it's very seldom that I see an 18-year-old do it. That was pretty cool. And I just kind of watched it and said, damn, I'm a lucky coach.
By getting a taste and getting close to that Final Four, do you think that helps the guys that are going to be back in that locker room again next year?
Yeah, I sure hope so. We talked about that a little bit, It was Cleves after we got beat in the Sweet 16 that says we're coming back here. And then we got beat in the Final Four, and he said we're coming back again. And it was a little different then, you knew everybody was coming back everywhere. But I do think that helps. It'll be interesting to see how they handle that with each other. But there was enough disappointment and people taking blame and all the things in that locker room that, you know what, they could all leave tomorrow and I'll feel proud of what they've accomplished and proud of who they are. Because I watched it. It wasn't phony. Tears aren't phony. What they say, I gave guys a chance to say something. That's not phony. When you say it in front of your managers, your players, your AD, that's pretty cool. So, no, it really was all good. It's just a sad way to end it because I did not think we played well enough. Don't take anything away from them. Probably some of it was they played better than us, but when you're turning the ball over, when nobody's guarding you, or when you're, missing wide open shots, you got to make those, or you're not going to win. So, all in all, it was good. A couple more, and then I'll get out of here.
Coach, the other day you mentioned that tourney wins no longer turn you on after many, many years as a coach.
Oh, this one would have.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I'm
Oh, yeah.
also wondering, are you walking away from this season satisfied, and what are you walking away with?
I'm walking away proud. I'm walking away appreciative of my staff and those players, what they gave me. I mean, you know, when we started winning, when we went to California, somebody asked a good question, what was the turnaround there? You know, that was them. You know, coaches get a lot of credit for stuff, sometimes a lot of blame for stuff, but that was the players. I mean, the players, and boy, once they started, I mean, I had a lot of them ask me to be, you know, keep pushing us. Keep pushing us. Magic Johnson once told me that great players want to be pushed, want to be coached. You know what? Maybe I got a lot more great players than I think, because I think they wanted to be, and that's easy for me to oblige to do that. And I think the combination of we asked our players things. Are you tired? You know, we want to go at 6:30 in the morning. What do you think? Like today, we didn't shoot over here, okay? Because I made that decision. I just thought we had put them through enough, and so we walked through in the hotel. It was great, and they were great. But yeah.
Coach, can I ask you about Jeremy? Looking
Yeah.
at the season, his progress and the value of
Yeah.
tournament experience
Yeah.
at that point guard position.
Yeah, you know, Jeremy is an interesting guy too, because I think early on, I don't follow Twitter. You know, I don't have it, but I got a bunch of jerk friends that tell me don't read that crap, and then they reiterate everything people are saying about me or one of my players. You know, I should have read it. You know, I don't need my buddy telling me, because then I'm mad at him. But you know, I think he went through some tough times. And the biggest thing I think he learned is he did not appreciate what being injured was. You know, I mean, he missed 8 months. Guys, there's not a player, you know, Christie's here, in women's basketball, in men's basketball, in pro basketball, in college basketball. There's not a player that they say in the pros, whatever time you miss, you can just cut that in half to even think to getting back. Well, he missed 8 months and didn't do anything. And when it's between your freshman and sophomore year, that's usually when most players improve the most. Now they know what they're doing, they know what they're in for, they know what they got to. I thought this last month he's grown exponentially. You know, not always scoring it yet. His shot is better in practice, but he distributed, he guarded, he pushed the ball in the break. I thought he made incredible progress, and I think the only thing that hurt him was that year off or 8 months off, and then you want to get it all back at once, and everybody around you wants to have it back at once, and then the people, even the fans, think it should come back at once, because they're on Dial-A-Clue. They never did anything like that, you know. It's really been incredible to miss as much time as he missed and has as a severe injury as he had, to bounce back. If he has a good summer, I think you're going to see a monstrous jump in his game.
Is there a specific value of tournament experience that he obviously couldn't have? What is
Oh
that?
yeah, and he was so good in these huddles and that, a Big Ten tournament. He's just growing, you know. And yeah, anytime you play in this tournament, like we had nobody really that played in this, you know. We had Jason, him were freshmen, and Jaden was the only guy really that played in one. So, you know, tournament experience really helps. I think we'll find out. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.